Welcome back to another episode of Fifth Take Podcast. Today we've got a good one, a real good one. We've been waiting on this one for a while. I think we announced it the episode before last.
Yeah, it's
Or
2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, but we have a very special guest with us. His name is Jonathan Isenburg, and he may be the richest man alive. He is, for one, a soldier, Bitcoin miner. We've been in about 9 years, right? Uh, Been a soldier for
Roughly.
9 years, a Bitcoin miner, and a pretty good basketball player. Actually, a pretty
I'm just
exceptional basketball player. But but yeah, welcome to the podcast, man. If you want to kind of introduce yourself, or if there's some things I left out, I know there's probably a lot I left out.
yeah. My name's Jonathan Isenburg. Been in the crypto space since about 2013. Started off taking money to Western Union, wiring it over to Europe, which at the time was Coinbase. But that was how you first got your Bitcoin. I think I bought my first one. It was around $13 to $15 a coin then,
Holy cow!
and I've been a big push on crypto. I saw the market. I saw um, all the aspects that it can do, uh, the different um, uses for it, the fight against inflation, and everything else. And if you know anything about me, you know that if I don't talk about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whatever, then something's wrong because that is my big push. And I've tried to get everybody I know onto it. And, I talked about it at 500, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000. Then, I'm still talking about it even though it's hit 101,000. So,
That's crazy.
I'm still a big pusher of it. And I'm a hodl for life. So, hold your coin. So I'm just
Yeah.
a big supporter of crypto. Most cryptos, a lot of them you got to be careful for, but most cryptos I'm a big supporter for.
Yeah, only thing I really took from that I wish is that I wish I'd have known you sooner.
You
Yeah, back
know,
in 2013, you said back, uh, when was it? Maybe 15, maybe? Was 15 when it was like around like $6,000 a coin or 10,000?
so around 2017 is when you had your big push from around 5 to 10, and then around 2018 you hit at the time was an all-time high of around 18,000.
Because that's what I knew it was sometime around that time frame. I had bought some at that time. I can't remember how much it was, but it went up. I held it for just a little bit and I forgot about it, and it went up, and I cashed it out
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because I
that's
didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know anything
yeah.
about it. I'd read a little bit about it, but nobody I knew um, was in it. Hadn't really talked to anybody that was that informed. I thought it was just something that was gonna kind of come and go, which I wasn't really that much into investing at the time. I didn't know anything about that stuff. But I just got married and everything, and yeah, that's the one thing that I think about all the time because I just seen that the other day. I didn't know it hit 101. I knew like
yeah.
the other day when it hit 100. I was like, man, if I would have kept that, I was like,
Yeah, and I hear that all the time of people saying, I wish I would have invested sooner. I wish I would have invested sooner. And even now, the all-time high as of today, I believe, is 103,800. So it actually hit that, and that's
oh,
its all-time high and dropped a little bit. But even that, I mean, there are tons of articles out there that talk about Bitcoin hitting $1 million 2026.
Holy cow!
Looking at that from the outside and the different perspectives, it is entirely feasible. Now, what they say is going to happen is you're going to hit your next step of about 150 to 200,000, and that'll be next year. And then it'll eventually shoot up. It'll hit 1 million by 2026, but then it will level back off and drop back down to about 250,000. So that is what some of the professional estimates are. Um, and when you look at a longer term growth, you do want to look at some of your short terms too, depending on everybody's goals. Everybody has different goals. So, take those profits when you can, and then take the profits, do whatever you want, pay your taxes, whatever, and then take the other money that you have and roll it back into crypto because it's going to go back up.
Yeah.
You always have these cycles. It'll shoot up and it'll drop down. I mean, if you look at 2 years ago, crypto or Bitcoin hit 68,000. So it hit 68,000, it shot up, hit 68, and then dropped back down, and it got down to as low, I want to say around 20,000. It got that low. So, your bigger people, they took their profits, and then when it dropped back down to 20, they re-rolled their money into it, and now they're riding it back up again. So, I mean, take those little profits, cash out, or don't cash out. And, there's other markets that you can do, so you can actually roll it into a stable coin, US dollar coin, or US dollar tether, which is stabled at $1. It'll never go up, it'll never go down. So a lot of people roll their crypto into that, wait for it to drop, buy back in, and right there you've already increased your holdings by 20 to 50% just by still holding it into a crypto. Now, granted, there are still some tax liabilities, so you still want to talk to a tax professional because when you do transfer from coin to coin, those are taxable events. But still, if you're paying taxes on it, you're still making money off of it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah, I could see myself getting in trouble. Like, they'll never know. I just won't pay these taxes or nothing. I won't report it.
I'm sure there are
And,
several people that have actually done that. I mean, like with big amounts of money, I would say.
yes, which I was just reading an article about 20 minutes ago. A guy from Texas, he just got arrested because tax evasion related to crypto. So he sold, I think it was like $4.3 million worth,
Oh.
and he undervalued because at that time there was no easy way to track. So back then you had to have what you bought it in, keep track of every single buy that you had, and then basically subtract it from what you sold it at. And if you are a smaller investor, that's hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
But his excuse was no excuse. He knew what he bought it at, and he just didn't report it. So you do have to be very mindful. And there are ways now for the IRS to track you. So if you do make big profits, just do your fair share and pay your taxes.
Yeah, just like anything.
So exactly.
Yeah,
Don't try to hide it because then you get in trouble.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
If you never
The one
sell,
thing
though,
that you can't avoid anyway in life is death and taxes.
100%. But if you never sell, you never have to pay taxes.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would be so hard. Like right now, like say if you had like 15 Bitcoin or something, it would be so hard to like not be like, oh, well, here we go. Here's how much ever money, $1.5 million, or at least
Yeah.
like take out some.
it you say that, but watching it grow from 13, 14, $15 to now in, let's say 10 years, it's grown from $15 to 100,000, and you think, well, what's the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Is it going to be $1 million? Is it going to be 2 million? So when you see that growth from that amount of time, it's a little bit easier because you think, hey, listen, we're still in early stages. Bitcoin's still new, relatively new. So when you see that type of growth in that short amount of time, you just think to yourself, at least I do, the end is not near. I mean, it's yes, it is hard seeing that portfolio balance or whatever, but if you look at the history, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that would be nice now, but how much better is it going to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the excitement. If you think about it, like the excitement from watching your stocks grow like that, like watching your money quadruple, is more exciting than pulling it, because then my regret, would be just like exactly what I did. I made a little bit on it and pulled
Yeah.
it, but like if I would have left it in there, like, look at what I would be sitting at now.
Yeah.
That's, gosh, still.
Yeah, which, I always tell people, because I do a lot with traditional stocks and crypto, some precious metals and everything, but, what are your goals? If you have goals in life, if you've reached that goal with where you're at now, it is perfectly okay for you to pull out. If you haven't reached your goals yet and you're still able to function and do everything that you want, then why not hold it?
Yeah.
So everybody's got different goals, and when you reach that goal and you're happy with it, you can't go back in time and kick yourself in the butt because, of whatever. I mean, I could do that time and time again because I've sold basically 2 times in my life of Bitcoin. And I look back and I'm like, crap, why'd I do that? But then again, it's like, well, it was a different time. I did what I did and I can't go back. So just make the future better.
Yeah.
That's good perspective too.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, you know, like you said, it's just the same for everybody. Like you sold, you regret it now, but at the time, that was what you thought was best, and that's all you can
Exactly.
do. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah. But like, what you said, you started in 2013. Like, what got you? How old were you when you started?
So in 2013, I was 23, I think. But I worked as a registered nurse, and I saw it in a Wired magazine talking about this new wave of money, and I thought, this is interesting. So I read the magazine, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And I always dabbled a little bit into investing as far as playing with my 401k at work. Didn't do a whole lot of stocks then, a little bit, but I thought, this does seem extremely interesting. And truthfully, whenever I first got it, I gambled with it. So on this website, you could throw dice, and if you did a 7 to 12, you doubled your money. If you did below that, you lost it all. So, I gambled with 4 to 6 Bitcoin at a time, which at the time was about $100,
Yeah.
And it was just more or less just for fun, seeing it out. And then in 2017, I started mining with it. Actually, probably 2015, I started mining with it. So I actually got it downstairs in the basement, but it's a little bitty block miner, and it mines Bitcoin at 5 gigahash. So if you know anything about cryptocurrency, 5 gigahash is extremely slow compared to what they do now. So now they do upwards of 840 terahash. So 1000 gigahash equals 1 terahash. So if that tells you how slow this thing did.
Yeah.
But it was brand new, so this machine, I call it a machine, it was really just a block with one chip in it. It was high speed, best on the market, cost quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
At the time, that was like the average, though.
at the time, that was the top of the line. There
Oh.
was nothing else to that extent that was considered a ASIC miner that did anything close. And this company came out called Butterfly Labs, and they were a US based company, came out and, brought out this machine. So I bought it, and I thought, this is neat. And all it did, it was a little bit of USB that plugged into my computer, and it mined Bitcoin. And then I started talking to my dad, and I was like, hey, look at this, which he's always been real big into computers, electronics, things like that.
Yeah.
And so he got one too. So we had 2 of these little blocks that were just sitting there mining Bitcoin in 2015. And, it made it made quite a few Bitcoin. Now you have to have hundreds of machines to mine one Bitcoin. And this little bitty machine that did a fraction of what the speeds are now mined multiple Bitcoin over the
Yeah.
course of a year.
So like now, like technically, how does one mine Bitcoin? Like, where is it coming from? I mean, you
So,
always hear the term, and just like you explained, you had that little computer piece with a chip in it that you plugged in, and it was mining. Where does
mhm.
it get it? How does it produce it?
Okay, so if I'm speaking over people's head, I'm sorry, but so Bitcoin was created. When it was created, there was a computer algorithm put into place. So every 10 minutes, a block is solved. So a block at the time it was 50 Bitcoin. So 50 Bitcoin were released every 10 minutes. And on that block was transactions. So if I sent Bitcoin to somebody else, the transactions put on the chain, all these machines do the work to basically confirm and say, yes, that's a valid transaction. We're going to go ahead and allow it. So then after that 10 minutes, that coin goes to the receiver of it, along with those 50 Bitcoin being released.
So it's
So it
like
is a computer algorithm.
verifying like transactions almost.
Correct. Yes. So that is what the machines serve two purpose. Purpose one is to um, solve the algorithm for the new release of Bitcoin, and then two, to verify transactions are correct and proper. So there are ways that you can, they're very hard, but there are ways that you can basically manipulate the blockchain to think that it's a good transaction. But because there's so many machines now, they will take that transaction and say, hey, listen, this is not a real transaction, and they kick it out.
So
So it is
you've got like is that like an additional layer of like, I don't want to say like security, but like accountability almost, like
it,
you
it
people can
so it
see
is
what you do.
it is. So it's an additional security. It is a security aspect. So the algorithm that's used for Bitcoin is called SHA-256. So this is actually an algorithm that's used in the United States military,
Yeah.
and a lot of different companies use this type of algorithm. Bitcoin used it for obviously the security purposes. I mean, if the military can use it, obviously a public entity is going to use it for security purposes. So, but it is a way so that if I want to look, so if Matt says, "Hey, I'm going to send you $50 in Bitcoin," he sends me the Bitcoin, or he says he sends it, and then I look at the blockchain and I say, "Well, wait, there's no transactions here that show that you sent it." So one, you either sent not Bitcoin, or two, you didn't send it at all. So it's a way that basically everybody can look at the blockchain and say, okay, yes, this person sent this person X amount of Bitcoin or money.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. Like, what does it
it,
look
it
like whenever you look at like the blockchain? Like, is it just like a bunch of numbers or like just code or
so it
something?
it is. So I will pull it up. Um, it is. It's basically just a text hash. So it's just numbers and letters showing transaction IDs. Um, and obviously, if you look more in depth at the actual algorithm, it's a 256 string zeros and ones of that transaction.
Gotcha. So it's not like an actual block, more
It,
or less
it's
just like the
it, it's
code.
it it's called a block, but no, it's not really a block. So let me see here.
Yeah, that Shaw 256. I know absolutely nothing about it. But I remember I was looking at my CAC certificates because like when you have like a military ID
Mm-hmm.
and like say like if I get on a computer or something, I'll put in my CAC has a chip in it, kind of like a card, and you
Yeah.
log in with your PIN and everything. But I was looking at my certificates. I was uh trying to figure out why I couldn't send an encrypted email. And then I remember seeing that SHA 256.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it meant,
So
but
yeah, so there are a lot of different there are a lot of different algorithms. Which can I screen share? Will it let me? Let's see. Can you see my screen?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what you're looking at. So this is a block explorer essentially, so you can see all the transactions that just keep coming through. Every second there's transactions. These are the blocks that I was talking about. So each block every 10 minutes should be solved. And it shows you, so when you click on it, you see exactly everything about the block, how big it was, what was in it, all the other transactions over here that were in it. So when somebody sends me,
Hang on.
I think, are we looking at the?
oh,
It's just froze on the blockchain explorer page. Oh, now it's moving.
there
It's
we
like oh,
let's see.
it was catching up a little bit. It's like when you pulled it up, it's like it froze on that page.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes
Now
sense.
it's
So-
moving.
Okay, so this shows all the different transactions as far as who sent who what, so where it came from, who it sent to, the difficulty of it. So difficulty is another aspect. So the more coins that or the more machines that you have on a network, the higher the difficulty goes, and that keeps it so that every block is solved every 10 minutes.
That is
So
complex.
That is.
it is very in depth. So I've actually I'm kind of a nerd a little bit, so I've actually went on here and looked at different people's wallets and then traced where they sent the coin, where they received coins from, just because I can and because it's kind of neat to look at and to watch.
Yeah.
And as far as this is Bitcoin only. So the other coins that are on the SHA-256 algorithm, you have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold, but then you have, I would say, 10 other main algorithms. So you have Dashcoin, which is another crypto, which uses the X11 algorithm. You have Litecoin and Doge, which Doge is a big one right now. They are on the script algorithm. You have Caspa coin, which is on the Casp heavy algorithm. You have so many other types of cryptocurrencies that use these algorithms that are called proof of work coins. Proof of work essentially means that you have to have an outside source, electric source, to confirm these transactions and to release these blocks. Meaning you have to have either GPU miners, ASIC miners, which are your basically supercomputers. You have to, or CPU miners, which obviously are integrated onto the computer.
Yeah.
And then you have proof of stake, which proof of stake are your Solana coin, your Ethereum, which is a big one. They do it by having nodes. So you essentially have a hub of coin, and that hub of coin confirms transactions without the use of electricity or high use of electricity.
Yeah. So what do you think about what was that one? Shiba Inu.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. What about that one?
I hate it. I hate it. I hate SHIB just because SHIB was used. It was made as a joke.
Yeah.
It was made as a joke because of Dogecoin, which was also made as a joke. The only big thing that is a big pusher of Doge is you have Elon Musk, who absolutely loves Doge.
Yeah.
He loves it. SHIB, I mean, it's just one of those things that, yes, a lot of people made money, and now it seems like it's a coin that's going to stay around for a while. I don't think it's a longer term coin just because I feel like with some of these regulations that will hopefully come is going to ban it just because it has no true purpose.
Yeah. So
It was
you
made as a
so you're for the regulation coming down on the cryptocurrency side? Because like most things you see and read about when you're trying to look up some of this, it seems like everyone is kind of wants the regulation and all that to stay out of it to an extent. I mean, I can understand where it can be good and it can serve its purpose, but then other ways I feel like it can harm you too, you know.
so I am for regulation to an extent. It's kind of like any new business. I do feel like there needs to be regulation and guidelines as far as what is a coin, what is not a coin, what is legal, what's not legal. Just because when you start having, when you have no regulations, it's wild, wild west.
Yeah.
That's why you have the Hot Tua girl that's potentially in trouble because she released her own coin,
Yeah.
and now there's thousands of people that have lost millions of dollars because they wanted to scam somebody.
Yeah, and she'll potentially won't
Potentially
she
wanted
potentially
to
from
scam
that
somebody.
she could potentially get jail time.
Yes. So from what I've read, nothing officials came out, but from what I read, it doesn't look good as far as potentially having some litigation against her. Now, obviously, that's all circumstance evidence, so you're innocent until found guilty.
Yeah.
So maybe she really didn't do anything, and that's possible. But if she did, then obviously there needs to be some legal things happen to her. But if there was more regulation as far as what is a coin and uh, what uses you have to have and different things like that, I think it would help the sector as far as weeding out the bad actors on trying to scam people.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm in this for the long haul, and I hate scammers. If you're in the crypto industry, you know tons about scammers because once you send the coin, it's gone. So the less malicious actors that we have in this market, the better it is for everybody. So once you start getting a little bit of regulation, your big institutional investors will feel more comfortable as far as investing their millions, billions of dollars.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do think there needs to be some growth. They need to allow growth in the market because it is new, but they need to also regulate it to an extent of that it still allows that growth.
Man, old Hawk Tua girl, she has went from hero to zero real quick. I guess. Yeah.
I hate it. I hate seeing anybody fall into those little traps. But when somebody dangles millions and millions of dollars in front of your face, it's kind of hard not to
Yeah.
take it. But
Oh, yeah.
when you're doing something wrong and illegal, then yes, you need to be punished.
Yeah. And I mean it's not like I mean she might be, I don't know her. But she doesn't look like the brightest bulb in the store. But, it's just like that there was somebody, like you said, there was somebody dangling something in front of her that got her
Yep.
to want to invest into doing that. And then now
Exactly.
that could potentially be the worst decision that she could have made.
Exactly. It's bad just because, she probably needed a little bit of money. Her popularity's been dropping. So now it's like, okay, what can I do to kind of increase popularity and make a little bit of money? And maybe she just got around the wrong people that enticed her to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And maybe her intentions were, innocent and
They could have been completely innocent, and maybe she did nothing wrong. Maybe when everything comes out, they come to find out that maybe it wasn't her or whatever, and hopefully so. But if not, then obviously she needs to be punished for what she's done.
Yeah. Because that's kind of like the same thing. Well, maybe not the same thing, but what were those things called? That like the Logan Paul did uh, um, with all those people and pulled it out. It's those pictures or whatever that they would sell.
It NFTs.
NFTs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, that's what I
Yes.
was thinking of.
Yes. Now NFTs were a little bit different because you're making a product, um, and they are purchasing the product from you.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I make something and I attempt to sell it for $1 million, and somebody buys it for $1 million, well, they get their product.
That's true. Yeah.
They are not
Basically
necessarily
like
now.
art. I guess you could.
Exactly, they are. They are virtual art.
Yeah.
So if their intentions were not to scam me, or my intentions weren't to scam somebody else, then it's perfectly legal. Kind of shady,
Yeah.
but still legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing's confusing. Like around NFTs, like it doesn't really make sense to me.
I think that all faded out though, didn't it? I don't think that's a big thing anymore.
It did. I mean, you still have some markets like OpenSea is a big NFT market, and they're neat as far as pulling up your computer and looking at it. But as far as I think the big push was when Meta was like, we're gonna have this virtual world, and you can bring all your NFTs or your virtual art and put it into your virtual house. So I think it was a big push for there. But then you had all your other actors who, they use art for centuries as money laundering.
Yep.
So it's a money laundering thing for some people, and then your good, wholesome people that aren't meaning anything bad about it, they get caught up in it and they lose money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and like whenever we first, our friend Alan, he got us into the Shiba Inu years ago. Well, I can't remember when it was, but yeah, like 2015, 2016, something like that, or maybe it was like 2017, 18, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it was later. It was
It-
like 2018. It was right around when COVID. It was right around as COVID started kind of coming around.
yeah, I had no idea. I still have no idea what I was doing,
Yeah.
and I didn't lose a whole lot, but yeah, ultimately ended up losing a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but losing
I
some
didn't
money.
lose.
Yeah.
I didn't lose any in that little embargo. I lost. Or I made a couple $100. I think I made like $600 on it. But it was all just for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of unreal thinking about it that you could literally, if you know, like, if you know what you're doing in it. I mean, it's like anything else, I guess, but that you can make a living, a good living, doing this.
You can, which it's like day trading stocks. Crypto is no different. Besides, there are new cryptos. I guess there's new stocks every day too, but there's so many new cryptos that could take off, and if you just happen to be in the right one, you can make thousands, if not millions of percent more
Yeah.
than what you put in. I mean, if you look at SHIB from the time it started to now, the increase is like 14 billion%, I believe.
Yeah, it was through
So
the
if you
roof.
put in $1, you're a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, since you kind of tied into that stocks and you kind of keep up, did you get in on any of the AMC GameStop kind of short deal? Did you kind of jump in on that when you saw it? Or were you late to that game and just didn't kind of fool with it?
So I got into the AMC.
Uh-huh.
Didn't really get in too much of GameStop, but AMC, I rode it from about $8 to about 40. So I did pretty good on it, but I did a lot of options. I did a lot of put or call options.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty good year.
No, I'd say so. See that stuff like that's one thing I don't stay on top of that stuff. I've never. I mean, I enjoy reading stuff about it, like and seeing it, but like as far as being ahead of the game on it, I don't pay enough attention.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
see something like that coming. And honestly, I'm not gonna say I do. I don't really know what I'm looking for
Yeah.
in that kind of realm. to see when it dips down or when the right time to buy is,
Which on the AMC topic, I got lucky. I had a buddy, Tristan Phillips. Actually, Matt, you probably know him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tristan. He called me up or messaged me. He was like, "Hey man, AMC's about to pop off." And I talked to him for a little bit, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take a chance." So I threw a little bit of money into it, and it just happened to shoot up. And I was like, "Tristan, I'm gonna take you out to dinner. You did me good that day. I'm gonna take you out to dinner." Um, so, but since then, I've played around with options a little bit. But I've got my long term stocks, my long hold stocks. Um, I there's just Man, I was stressed every day for about 2 months watching it go up and down, up and down. And I was like, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
I don't have to live like that, and I don't want to. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just now noticed your hoodie too. It's like, oh, that's
oh
fitting right there. That's cool.
yeah,
Is that a Bitcoin?
it is. Yeah,
Oh, I
whole
thought it said
pointer.
whale coiner there for a second. Oh,
No, whole pointer.
oh. Is that does that mean like you own like a whole coin kind of thing, or is that like
Yeah.
heck yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So you said before you were a registered nurse. So when did you kind of get out of that? Like, start. What did you do? Do you still fool with, like, you don't do any of the registered nurse stuff anymore? You don't do any of that. You just in the
No.
guard and stocks and things like that.
Yeah. Which yeah, I got out around 17, 18. It was super stressful. Um, didn't get to spend time with my kids, my family, and I started doing a lot off eBay as far as selling equipment, um, and then mining a little bit more. And I didn't really have to work as a nurse anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got out of that, and then I started my own business as far as going around and setting up Bitcoin mines. So going up to these, basically these investors and saying, "Hey, listen, I know a way that you can, mostly natural gas, but I know a way that you can, you've got all these stranded assets out here. So I know a way that we can increase profits for you by putting a natural gas generator here, setting up a little pod, and you can mine Bitcoin off your stranded assets. And there you go. You're making money off something that you would it would just be sitting."
Yeah. Just be capped there. I mean, they're not going to
Yep.
use it if, yeah,
Pretty
that's,
smart.
Exactly.
yeah, that's,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, me and another guy from London, Kentucky, we worked with that, and we did quite a few big deals. And so now I do a little bit as far as some uh, smaller mines, and then some upkeep. But yeah, that's about what I do now.
So,
I'm
like,
a lot happier.
I would say so. Having a lot more time to yourself and your family, that makes a big difference
Yeah,
instead of holding that
absolutely.
stress over top of your head. So like you said now the mining rate, so you were talking about the blockchain and it was like it creates 50 every 10 minutes. Is that increased now or is it still the same, which is what's made the price shoot through the roof?
So it actually decreases. So every 4 years, you have what's called a halving event. So when Bitcoin started, every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoin were released.
Mm-hmm.
4 years later, it's 25. 4 years after that, it goes to 12 and a half. 4 years after that, 6.25. So every 4 years, you have a halving event, which means for every block, half of the Bitcoin that you were receiving, or you were receiving half of what you were receiving before.
Yeah.
And that is essentially what makes Bitcoin go up, because now instead of 50 being released, now I think we're at 3.25
Yeah.
or 6.5.
So how low will it
So
go? Will it go to zero?
it will eventually. So the last Bitcoin, I believe, is mined in 2140. 2120 or 2140, I believe, is the last Bitcoin that's ever going to be mined.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, your last 20 years, you will mine 1 Bitcoin. So you got to think that for it to be profitable for these big companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, Bitcoin's going to have to be extremely high. And that's what basically shoots up the price, is because you have a supply and demand. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to be out there. That is it. There's no more than that. So if one company owns 15 million, well, that means you only got 6 million for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So supply and demand. The price is going to go up because more people want it.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any there.
Yeah. So like say if like me or Cody wanted to like get into like Bitcoin mining, what would like
Would it even make
what
sense to do it?
well like what would we need?
Like what? Yeah.
Like what equipment or like what does that look like when you're
'Cause
you're setting up a Bitcoin mine for somebody?
Because you were just sitting there talking about that. I literally have a gas well about 700 feet from where I'm sitting, and I used to use it to heat my farm, but then it kind of depleted some. But it
Yeah.
could run a generator all day
Yeah.
long, for a long time. But would it make sense? And like, what would the cost of something like that be?
Yeah.
Like
So
for the computers and all the everything you have to have.
it depends on how big you want. So I've worked on some companies that their budget was 50 million, and I've worked on with some companies that their budget was 100,000.
Yeah.
So the way that I've always worked is I'm going to try to make a client for life. Like, I don't want to get rich off one client and then push them aside and never deal with them. So I always try to, first off, what I do is I ask them what their goals are. What are they looking for? What are they trying to do? And then I'll go out and inspect the site, make sure that it can even handle that. Because, some people say, I want 1,000 machines, but yet they got a room this big. And it's like, okay, well, that's not going to work. So we can't do that unless you build. So, first off, you got to know your space and know what you're dealing with. And on top, besides natural gas, if you're running off grid, you have to know what your electric price is. Because if your electric price is 3 cents a kilowatt hour, there's a lot of different options versus your electric price is 10 to 12 cents.
Yeah.
So, but these machines, they vary. I've got tons of contacts. Most of them, because the new machines, they obviously come from China. That's where the hub of the new machines come from. And I've got tons of contacts over there that are known contacts. If there's issues, they resolve them with me. They don't, they're not going to take your money. They're not going to scam you. But then I have some local contacts here in the United States. But obviously, if they're already in the United States, it's more expensive.
Yeah.
But you're looking anywhere between $500 up to $15,000 per machine.
Yeah.
Per machine.
So if you run, one machine, if you just have one machine, how many Bitcoin can that mine in a day? But you're only getting 3.25 on the blockchain every 10 minutes.
So your highest machine right now, which is your S21 XP Hydro, it runs at about 840 terahash. It would take you 6 years to make 1 Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
Dang. What's something
That
like
one
that?
machine.
Is that the 15,000?
Those are around $15,000, but you make around 15 to 16 a year. So you do make your money off on that, but obviously running a hydro, which means that it is liquid cooled.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other aspects to that cost, as far as you need a hydro cooler, you need other things like that. So there are obviously other aspects. If you are looking for something that you can run in a garage, obviously it has to be 220. They don't run off 110.
Yeah.
But 220, I would look more or less into the script miners, which mine Litecoin and Doge. They actually mine Litecoin, Doge, and Bell's coin. You're looking at anywhere from $8,000 to $16,000, but they make anywhere from 12 to 20,000 a year, and that is
Wow.
on 10-cent electric. So if you are running off gas, then you essentially take your electric bill to none.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to have some maintenance in there, oil changes, filter changes, things like that. But everybody is a little bit different. So whenever I go out to a client, I basically customize the package for whatever they have and for whatever they're looking for. I had a client here in Glasgow. They wanted 300 machines, and I essentially told them, I was like, listen, it's not going to work here, just because your electric rate is too high for what you're wanting.
Yeah.
So I suggested a lower machine, or a different machine that they were looking for, that made them about 100,000 a year, and then only needed 5 of them.
Oh, dang. That's
Still profitable at their electric rate.
Yeah. So they were in the green the first year then.
Yeah, so I'm not into it for just making a sell. I try to help the client out as far as getting what they want, but also making sure that in a year or two they're going to come back to me and be like, hey, listen, I made X amount of money, you did me good here, I want to come back to you.
Yeah.
So there are multiple. So see, I'm thinking small minded. You can mine every type of coin.
If it is a proof of work coin, you can mine it, yes. And right now your big push is Litecoin and Doge.
Mm-hmm.
So those types of machines are your best machines, and they've been the most profitable machine for probably the last 4 years. So I actually use them to heat my garage, my shop, and my storage building. I use it to heat during the winter because why pay for a mini split or an HVAC system when I can put a cryptocurrency machine here, heat the building, pay for the electric, and make money on top.
Yeah, that's smart. Because I mean, those computers put off a lot of heat, don't they?
Yeah, one machine is roughly 3,000 to 3,500 watts. So, 2 machines is your average house.
That is insane.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. That is wild. So like you said, the Litecoin. So like if you bought a machine to mine Dogecoin and Litecoin, like what is Litecoin right now? Like how much is one Litecoin?
You're looking at around $120, $122.
And how many can you generate in a? How does that work? How many does it produce compared to like Bitcoin? Because where it would do like 50 or 10 or 3.5, whatever.
So Litecoin's actually, you don't actually make your money off the Litecoin. Litecoin's essentially, you used to make your money off Litecoin, but then Doge became so popular. Doge is it's around 41 cents right now.
Yeah.
And you make your money by making the Doge. And Litecoin is basically just a byproduct.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have, let's say you have one L7. So an L7 runs at 9.5 gigahash. Now, granted, this is a different algorithm, so 9.5 gigahash is pretty fast for that algorithm. You will make roughly 0.06 Litecoin and roughly 74 Doge a day. So you're going to roughly make $30-ish a day off that one machine.
Dang, over time too. That
So like to make the you said it'll make about 10 to 20,000 a year is just if you had one machine. You said the cheapest is 8,000.
For that algorithm, well, for the Bitmain L series, yes, about 8,000.
And it'll make 10 to 20 a year.
That one will make about 10 to 12. your L9, which is the newest model of that, which runs at about 16 to 17 gigahash, almost double, you're looking at about 20,000 a year, which that one cost roughly $14 to $15,000.
But I mean, it's going to pay for itself in a year, and you have to do nothing but maintenance.
Yes, it
Really?
should pay for itself in a year. Obviously, if it's a brand new machine, these companies do offer 1 year warranties.
Mm-hmm.
So if it breaks within a year, you send it back to the company and they don't. No, I mean, it's free. So your biggest expense with these machines, if you're running off grid,
Mm-hmm.
is electric cost.
Yeah. But see, like if I were
And
to get into that with having a natural gas well that holds, well, I mean, I could run, oh man, it holds like 3 or 4 pounds at the head at all times.
so,
I mean, I could
yeah,
run a generator easily.
you could probably do a 50 kW generator, and you could run close to about 5 to 8 machines off of it. You put you up a little wooden shed, pop you up a couple machines in there. If it's close enough to your house, you just do you can do a hard line in, or you can do like a wireless drop or a wireless bridge into there.
Yeah.
And there you go. You're making cryptocurrency, and you can even use some of your cheaper machines because you're not paying for the gas.
Yeah.
So you could get a cheaper machine that's obviously not going to make you that much,
Yeah.
but it's still going to be profit for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if you had like 2 cheaper machines and then 2 of the one that'll make about 70 Doge a day. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all in all startup, because you can get a secondhand generator, especially a 50 kW one, for probably $5,000,
Yeah.
maybe. Then you get you a little. You could either build a shed, or you could buy a little, $5,000 shed. So that's 10,000 there,
Yeah.
and then spend the rest on equipment. You're gonna ROI within about 18 months
Yeah.
minimum at current market.
Yeah. And I mean, it's only, like you said, it's really only predicted to go up.
Especially Trump hasn't even came to office, and he is a big, big, big supporter of cryptocurrency. He just put in for his SEC chair, which is a big proponent for crypto,
Mm-hmm.
loves crypto. So I only see the market going up when he actually gets into office and starts doing some of his laws and stuff that he wants to put in place.
Yeah. Yeah. So what all do you
We've
mine
definitely
now?
not
Do
hit a
you
bottom yet.
what kind of coins are you mining, like everything of the proof of work coins? Are you like mining all those, or are you just focusing on the business where you set up for people, or what's your main deal?
So I have both. So I have I think I have roughly 40 machines right now running. Some of them are doing Bitcoin. Some of them are doing Litecoin and Doge. But then also, on the other hand, I do go out and set up mines for other people. So I dabble in a little bit of both.
Okay.
Is that something you're looking for, like, clients for? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for people to help set up stuff. I'm always, if anybody wants to learn more about crypto, I'm always open to talk about it. And if somebody has a little bit of extra money laying around wanting to invest as far as getting machines, I have pretty much the cheapest prices, and I can get everybody set up, pretty quick. Now, obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't give financial advice.
Yeah.
But as far as buying machines, I can go off what my past clients have done, and then what my history with it is.
what would be, like, if someone, say, like, somebody who's listening to this, like, wanted to get in touch with you, like, you have an email or something that we could put out, or, anything
Yeah,
like that?
So I do have one. So you can reach me at my personal, which is Isenburg10 @Hotmail. I'll do that one, but then also phone number,
But you don't have to put
which
your
is
phone number out or anything
yeah,
like that.
yeah, if somebody wants to reach out, they can reach out to you, and
Yeah.
you all can get in contact. But email is okay as well.
Yeah, I
That
would say the
personal
email would
email.
be the best method, because if somebody hears this that's kind of interested in it, they could shoot you over an email, and if they were
Yeah,
serious, yeah,
yeah,
they could give you you could hand out the phone for information and stuff instead of somebody just blowing
yeah,
you up like
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
you know.
these Indian call center scammers.
Yeah.
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 So like if say somebody who's never like someone who is listening to this, they have never invested in crypto uh and wants to start like dabbling in it. Like what would be a good place for just a new person, a beginner to start?
And a good
It,
price too. A good like idea of like the main what would be a good number to have setting back to get started in this.
I've dealt with people that, um, I helped a guy over in Hopkinsville last week as far as, he was just getting into crypto, didn't really know a whole lot about it. He was a big electronics guy, but never got into the mining. So, I reached out, or he reached out to me, and, I had some equipment, and he was like, so he bought a little bit of equipment from me, and I walked him through as far as setting up a wallet, setting up a mining pool, how to start mining, and that was a few $1,000s. So you can get started with relatively nothing. Now, if you want to go a little bit bigger and better, I had another. It was actually a dad and son drove 6 hours to meet me to pick up one of the L7s that I had here. And this was something that him or his dad and his son were doing together as far as working with it. And their goal was to save up for a car. So they were going to mine cryptocurrency for this younger son to be able to buy him a car.
Well, that's good.
Oh yeah.
So
That's a
you, you, and it's something that they were able to do together, and have fun together, learn something new together, but yet they still had an end goal of getting the son a new car whenever they had enough.
Yeah.
So I never put a price on it. If you have a price in mind, most times I can work with you as far as maybe you're not too worried about making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe you just want to make a little bit of money. Maybe you just want to learn a little bit more about it. I have tons of equipment that I'm able to let go and help you along the way as far as getting you introduced. Now, if you do have hundreds of thousands of dollars, we can actually sit down and talk more serious about making a plan out. As far as the best practices, as far as exhausting air, ventilation, all of it.
What about just like not even talking like mining, but like if someone wanted to invest in like crypto, what would be a good place to start for that? Like is there any
Yeah,
one that
well,
you could recommend, more so than others for a beginner or something?
yeah, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice, but Coinbase is a good one. On Coinbase.com, they have a web app. You can basically get introduced with, if you want to spend $5 a week, you can put $5 a week in there, and it's a reoccurring investment. So every day on Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you pick, it'll put $5 from your bank account into whatever coin you want. And they have hundreds of different coins on there if you want to diversify, or if you just want to go with the big one, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge. They have those on there as well. And as far as any type of investing, if only put the money in that you're willing to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you need money for a car payment in a month, don't put that money in there. That's not a smart idea. What I always used to do is, I spend 5, 10, $15 a day on drinks, energy drinks, cokes, food, whatever. If you can cut that in half and then put $7.50 into investing, and then the other 7.50 you use for yourself, well, I mean, there you go. You're already saving $7.5 a day,
Right.
and your portfolio is growing over time. It doesn't look like much the first couple of years, but after it continues to grow, you will see results.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the hardest part for everybody. I mean, I know for me, like just seeing it in the beginning, seeing just a little bit of difference. That's the killer. But then when you
Yeah.
start seeing the big number changes,
Get like addicting.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
say.
Yeah.
kind of like how people can get addicted to gambling. You know, it's like you
Yeah.
start winning, then you just start seeing bigger numbers because you're willing to put more into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then when you see those big days, those, 25 or 45% growth weeks or months, you're like, gosh, my money went from $2,000 and now I got 4,000 in a month. It's like, okay, maybe there is something here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll really change your
And
mindset around or
I,
your
I think,
perspective real quick.
Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of people's mindset is, oh, well, I'm never gonna have that amount of money. That's not ever gonna be me. And I think it's a lot of people's mind game as far as it's not if you don't think it's going to be. If
Right.
you want something in your life, you have to take active steps to get that into your life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. And like, if you always have that mindset, well, I'm never gonna have this, never gonna have this amount of
Yeah,
money. Well, you probably won't. Thinking
exactly.
like that, it's almost like you're making something come true just by, I don't know what
Uh,
the word would be, but just by like, putting those words out there and with that mindset, yeah, you never will. Or and
yeah,
vice versa, the same can go the other way. If you say like, all right, one day I'm gonna have this and this, and you keep on telling yourself that, yeah, there's a pretty good chance that you will have that within reason one day.
exactly. It is all mindset. And humans are inherently lazy, and they don't want to do some of the work sometimes. They
Yeah.
don't want to put down, if somebody smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, well, they don't want to stop and smoke only half a pack because it's not going to do anything. But over the course of a year, you're taking your pack a day and you're literally cutting it in half, saving hundreds of dollars that you could have used over here to put maybe in your 401k or TSP or whatever you have as far as
Yeah.
retirement. Nobody is saying you got to have $500,000 to throw in all at the beginning, which isn't even a smart idea to begin with, but I won't get on that. But you got to you've got to do a slow introduction to things.
Yeah.
And if you have $5 extra a day or $5 extra a week, you got to slowly, slowly build on that. But then you have to have the integrity to not take that money out when you see that you got $3, $4, $5,000 now.
Yeah. I know like
You got to
whenever
still continue to let it grow.
I know like whenever I was younger, like I was so like short minded, like instant gratification was, that kind of like drove me almost. And it's like, the older I've gotten, like instead of focusing on like the short term, it's, transition to, the long game, the long term. Even if I take these and these steps today, yeah, maybe it's not gonna make a difference tomorrow or the next day or within a year, but those same three or whatever, however many small decisions I made, today, a year or 2 years down the road are gonna be, some of the biggest steps I ever took.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot. I think that's the way society or a lot of people are. Is just like, we're so focused on like instant gratification. We want to put our money somewhere or something. We want it to double the next day or something.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of us are, or a lot of Americans, a lot of people are just lazy, don't want to do the work, and
For sure. I don't know what I missed. I had to run off real quick, but uh, it's. I feel like that's the way that society is too. It's like everything's so
yeah,
fast paced anymore.
Yeah.
It's just go go go. Um, and it's just like when you do something, you expect what you're doing, or that's what the mindset that you have when you get into it is to be that same way, is to reciprocate that energy that you get every single day. And
Yeah.
then you just get impatient, and then
yeah,
don't feel like
And
fooling with it anymore. You're like, oh, this is a waste.
yeah, when you can pull up your phone and order, you know, I don't know, a computer or whatever, and you get it at your house in 2 or 3 days, and then you put your money somewhere and it takes years and years and years to grow, people don't like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's bad that our society is like that, but that is the fact that you have to get over is money doesn't grow the same way that you can just go out here and, go to McDonald's and get your breakfast in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You've got to let it grow and you've got to let it sit. Or the whole mindset of think poor, be poor. That is a big mindset. Now, granted, there are a lot of people in situations that they can't help. You have single parents or whatever that they may be working two jobs and they legitimately are struggling.
Yeah.
And those people, you know, I, it is a lot harder to overcome that. It's still not impossible. So that's why, even whatever you have disposable, you need to at least try to set yourself up to be better in the future. If you don't have to have this coffee today, instead take that coffee money and throw it into an investment account or talk to a financial advisor or whatever to grow that money. That's probably a better idea than just still being stuck in that same mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're thinking that way today, you're going to be thinking that way 10 years from now. You're
It's a
never
hard
going to
it's a
get it.
hard habit to break.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like a generational curse
Yeah.
until someone gets fed up with it, and then you'll hear of somebody breaking out from that and like becoming something or doing something with themselves
Yep.
instead of keeping the same living paycheck to paycheck and living off the government and all that,
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you said, there are people, I know people that work hard, but they just cannot seem to get a break. And then there's people that have all the breaks in the world and do nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's bad to look at it like that, to see people like that are legitimately trying and that are just still stuck in the down. And you at least for me, you still try to encourage them because we've got soldiers like that too.
Oh,
That
yeah.
I still try to encourage them, like, hey, listen, this is not going to last forever. You just got to keep pushing through, and something's going to happen. The luck's going to turn. You're going to get a promotion. You're going to get a pay raise or whatever. Something's going to break, and you're going to be ahead, and you're going to look back and think, man, those were hard, but it grew me into the person that I am today.
Yeah.
I'm a better
Yeah.
person because of the struggle that I had.
That's a good point.
I mean, I've struggled in my life too, so I think everybody has. So when you finally get to that point where you can look back and think, man, yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah.
It's more of a rewarding factor.
Exactly. And then, like, if you have kids and if they see you going through that and how you turn your life around and make their lives better, I feel like they're going to want to show that same energy when they get older.
You're gonna emulate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, hopefully they do.
hopefully
Yeah, hopefully.
so. Sometimes they won't, but it, it all depends on everybody's situation, I guess,
Were you always
does.
like, as a kid, like interested in like computers, electronics, or is that something kind of like a hobby that you slowly developed, into, what you are now, or have you always had that kind of that interest in, computers and electronics?
No, I've always, since I was a kid, been interested in computers. Which one of my fondest memories as a kid was my dad upstairs and me and my brother downstairs on the computer via lane, and we were playing Red Alert against each other, fighting each other on Red Alert, which was like a 1999 game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember running back and forth, looking at his base, and then going back down and telling my brother about his base, and which my dad's been real big into electronics. Used to play Atari all the time. Growing up as a kid, I say we were lucky. We were very fortunate. I say that in one side, but then again, I think it was more towards my dad because we had every game system that was out there. but I think it was more for my dad for him to play versus us.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
That
and
kind of
then my
thing
brother.
called bonding, like spend a lot of time
Oh,
with one another doing that.
oh yeah, and me and my dad, we built GPU miners before. We built different things like that, computers and other things. So it was a way for us to bond, and that's why, like, with my little boy and my little girl, we which my office is, we're working on it right now, so I'm in the living room, but we'll be in the office playing a game together and yelling back and forth at each other. So we try to bond like that. And whenever I'm over at the shop fixing machines, I'll have them come over and look at all the control boards, the circuit boards, the chips, the heat sinks, all those. And I'll say, what does this do? What does this do? Just try to, teach those little things that,
Yeah.
obviously, do they really retain it? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But it's those little things like that that I try to show them, hey, listen, like, this is what the control board does, and then it powers the fans over here. That gets power from the PDU over here and converts it from 220 volt here down to 18 volt or vice versa or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they may not
So,
remember like the specifics of, what does what, but I can guarantee that they will remember you always being there and showing them and
yeah.
telling them and just spending time with them.
And trying to keep them involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big thing.
And that's why, that was another big thing about nursing is, I missed out so much. I worked probably 60 hours a week, and, I was just never home. I was never home. And now, which granted, I've worked active duty at the Guard for the past 4 years. So, besides drill days and ATs, I go into work at 6 o'clock. I come home at 3. They're at school during that time, so I don't miss a whole lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And then I get to spend the rest of the day with them, and I don't have those crazy schedules. We're off on holidays, and it's just so much better of a life, so much less stress. I don't have to worry about what this doctor says or this nurse says, and you might have to listen to what your commanders say, but still, it's once you leave, and
You don't have to
you get
take
to
it
have
home
your
with
family
you.
time. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of my thing. I farm and work for myself, and that's my big thing. I work a lot of hours, but I have high periods and low periods. During like planting season, harvesting season, all that kind of stuff. I'm gone a lot, but now like during like the late fall, winter, early spring, I'm around a lot, and I can take off if I need to and all that. And that's a big benefit because I've had a son that has had to go to a lot of doctor's appointments and a lot of things like that. And it means a lot. When my wife's self-employed too, we can just take off. We don't have to answer to anyone. We just know when we get back we have extra that we have to do, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And that is it's a burden and a blessing all at the same time, is the way I've always liked to put it.
Yeah, no, I agree, because you have to rely on yourself, but then again, you are able to, um, if you have those emergencies, you don't have to ask somebody else
Yeah.
to be off. So you can just not work.
Yeah, you just I think a lot it's if you don't have a good mind, like if you can't hold yourself accountable, I don't think that lifestyle can be for you, because
Oh
you can
yeah.
let yourself slip into a hole and then you won't fight you won't fight your way back out.
Yeah.
And that seems to be like when people start their own thing, that you'll see them and they'll work hard at it for a little while. But when the new wears off,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they
Yeah.
wear off with that new. You know what I mean? And then they just look
Yeah.
at everybody else that is doing what they were doing, and then they get jealous because they're like, well, why couldn't I have done that? Well, you could have if you would have just
Yeah.
held yourself more accountable.
Yeah.
Well, and that's with anything too. You always got have those people that look at you like, well, you just got so lucky by investing into this or investing into that. Well, no, I did a lot of research and I felt strongly about it and I did it. And, even whenever I told you about it, you were like, I'm not going to do that. It's a fad. It's never going to last. You just didn't have that, take on it. Like you just didn't believe in it like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get lucky. I mean, I guess I did in a sense, but then again, I also took a chance.
Mm-hmm.
If you never take chances, the old saying goes, scared money doesn't make money.
Exactly.
You have to spend money to make money. And if you're scared to do it, which is okay, there's nothing wrong with being scared of spending money, but you also then can't complain when somebody else does very well for themselves
Yeah,
for
exactly.
for taking that chance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like a lot of people, they'll see someone's success, they see it only at like face value, and like, oh, well, this person is successful because of this, and they only see like the success, but they don't see like the amount of work and effort and time that was spent, that was put into that, and they don't see the behind the scenes, and they may be jealous of it, but they themselves, probably wouldn't have put in the same amount of work to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes for researching all of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
everything.
you've got to research stuff.
Yeah, if you're not willing to sit there for 3 or 4 hours reading different articles from different people, reading what they thought
Yeah.
or how they did that, you're never going to learn. If you think you know it all, you've already lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all can learn, and that's I'm not a big reader, but I love articles
Mhm.
because they're short, takes 5 minutes to read, and I don't want to sit there and read a book for 3 or 4 days,
Yeah.
but I will read a 5 minute article to see what this person's input on this thing is, or this person, and I probably read, I don't know, 5 to 10 articles a day uh, around cryptocurrency, just so I am up to date. And
Staying
I
informed.
feel very passionate about crypto. Like I said, if you know me, I will bring up cryptocurrency about anything. As far as have you heard about this news? Have you heard about this news? And it's one of those things. Like the more people that I can get brought on, I feel like I want everybody to get rich. I want everybody to make money. So if we all can make money, we all can be happier and do whatever.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's like if I can try to introduce you into this, why wouldn't I? If it's done so well in my life, why would I not want to share that with somebody else?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, at the beginning of this, I didn't really expect to come out with anything like me being intrigued or anything. But when you were talking about all that and running it through, it kind of got me, it kind of got me intrigued
Oh
into the
yeah.
mining side of it. To be honest with you, I've been sitting there running that back in my mind as you've been talking, and it has. I mean, it's kind of opened my eyes. I didn't realize there was that much. I mean, I knew it was there to be made, but I mean, I expected you had to put like hundreds of thousands of dollars from starting now, but like where you got in back in 2013 and early, you didn't have to. That was my mindset, but I didn't realize it wasn't that. It's real. I mean,
It,
in retrospect, it's not really that much money to get started in it,
yeah,
and you're getting a return right there in your first year.
yeah. And a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to start an LLC, to get a small business loan for $30,000 to $50,000, and there you go. If you can you can start a small business loan with just about any amount of money, and still be relatively pretty profitable, especially even in this market. Now, if you have natural gas or any type of renewable resource, as far as wind, solar, anything like that, it it makes it so much bigger. There's a guy in Arizona that I've helped out. He's got a small wind and solar farm.
Mhm.
I say small. You're probably looking at about 100 kW right now. And what he has done is he has basically taken all these little rechargeable batteries
Mm-hmm.
and put them in series. So he has made his own power banks for nighttime.
Yeah.
So granted, his solar does the majority of the work, and they will charge these power banks during the day. At night, his wind turbines will do a little bit, but those batteries will keep the machines running throughout the night, and it just keeps going every single day. And he has just basically done all the work himself. Obviously, not the turbines, but as far as like the solar panels and the inverters and all that, set all those up, and then just made his own batteries to be able to run 100 kW. And 100 kW is, you're looking at 25 to 40 machines.
Yeah.
Are you
It's a
talking
lot.
about like
And
like
like your small AA batteries.
Wow,
wow.
that's crazy,
Yeah.
man. And he's running on.
And
That's insane.
and what I'm saying is like he has thousands.
Oh yeah.
If not hundreds of thousands of these batteries that he is basically he's just taking these little batteries and then put them in line,
Put them in
and then you
series.
basically put a little strip of, I can't remember what metal it is, but you put a little strip of metal, you tack them down, and so it's all in series, so it basically turns it into one big battery.
Yeah.
And then he has a converter, so it converts that small voltage into 220 volt to power the machines.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's amazing what somebody with a little ingenuity and some time, what
Yeah.
that you can
Yeah.
really come up with. I mean, seriously,
And
that's crazy.
he basically got all those for free, as far as, they're not brand new batteries, obviously, but they're secondhand batteries that he got from somebody else, and he uses car batteries for some of them.
Yeah.
And he's just put everything in series.
Yeah. So like to do
And
that
then
off grid, like how if I was to do it, say where I'm at, you have to have an internet source as well
correct,
to pull
yes.
all that. Okay, that was my kind of thing. Because like
So,
bear in mind, if I was to do something like that, it's in the middle of a field. But
so my suggestion,
I have internet probably maybe 400, maybe 500 feet in my main
okay.
in my main like office building there. So I could potentially get something from that to there, couldn't you?
You could. So my suggestion, if I were to come out and look or whatever, not knowing anything about it, not knowing what the CPM that the gas puts off, but I would put up a big shed. I say big shed, a little 10 by 10 shed. You get your racks built in there, or you can basically just put wooden shelves in there. You line them up. You make sure that you vent them out, and then you get your internet source. Whether you take a hard line, which 400, did you say 400 feet or
Yeah,
400
it's
yards?
probably about 400 feet, maybe a little
Okay,
longer.
so
I would have to go back there and really look because I've not really stood there and looked. I'm just trying to think off of memory.
so you could probably do one line, but anything over 100 yards, you start losing some service.
Mm-hmm.
But these things take very minimal. They will run off a cell phone hotspot.
Oh,
So
wow.
even if you lose
That's insane.
even if you lose a little bit of service, they should still work. So you could just run your 400 feet line all the way out to the building, whether it's underground or above ground, don't matter, as long as you don't run over it with a mower or anything.
yeah.
But you run it out there, you get your little switch, little 12 port switch, plug them up, they're good to go.
Wow.
And then on the other side, you have your generator. So if you're doing 50 kW, you have your generator, and then you have it run into a panel. It's a 100 amp panel. Obviously, you have to have it tuned so that it will come in at normally generators that size will come in at like 240,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. Anywhere from 220 to 280 is a good voltage coming into the panel. You obviously from that panel run your lines. So if you got 10 machines, you run 10 plugs, and there you go.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that is honestly.
You could
It
do
sounds like a lot, but it's
you
really
could
simple.
you could do all of it, especially if you do most of the work yourself. minus the machine cost for probably $12,000 to $13,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's generator cost too.
Yeah. Now, like, what kind of could like how big of a generator did you say it had to take?
I'd say a 50 kW at the smallest.
Okay.
Because most of your farm wells are able to run a 50 kW.
Mm-hmm.
They're not normally, they don't have enough CPM. Yeah, they don't have enough CPM to run anything higher than that. I mean, they can, but that's where you have to have a somebody come out and inspect the well to see how much gas you're getting.
Yeah. See, and that's my thing. I did that years ago. I had. Have you ever heard of someone coming and shooting acid? They come
Uh,
in and they shoot acid down through there to see how far it'll go and clear out any blockages in the veins. Uh, and I have had that done. I've had the gas well measured, but it's been at least 8 years ago since that's been
yeah,
done. But I remember, see, I have 4 chicken houses, and I took the orifice from the propane because propane, a natural gas orifice will not burn with propane. Uh, so I took a natural propane orifice and we kind of drilled it out just a little bit so it would blend the natural gas and propane so I could cut down because the well would not heat all 4 chicken houses in the dead of winter because the main pool for gas that they send from here up to Louisville is probably, I don't know, 10 miles down the road. And when they turn
yeah,
their pump jacks on, they can pull way harder. They'll pull the majority of the gas to them. And there's nothing you can do about it. And but it would cut down on my chicken houses so I couldn't run them, but I would still hold about 4 pounds of pressure constant.
okay.
And so, yeah, I feel like I could run a pretty big generator. I mean, because if I could power 2 chicken houses. That's a lot of gas. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'll burn through almost 4,000 gallons in a week and a half of propane.
okay. Yeah, which I mean, which a lot of people don't understand is that these machines are extremely computer or electric heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So, at my shop when I was running at max capacity, I was pulling more electricity in my shop than the entire neighborhood was.
Holy crap!
So,
God, that's crazy.
you know, it's you do have to think on those terms of scale. That scale
Yeah.
is that these pull a lot. Hold on one second.
Okay.
That is crazy.
That is nuts. I
And an
would have never
entire
assumed that.
neighborhood.
But then you figure, okay, you don't say you don't, so that probably wouldn't pull that. Because I would have to look at how many kilowatt hours that pulls. Man, that's insane. I would have never
Yeah,
thought it pulled
it's
that much. That's crazy.
they pull a lot, um, which you know that's why you have some of these big mines that are. Um, I mean, there's a mine in Western Kentucky that I'd say their one mine does more power than the entire city of Bowling Green.
Oh my gosh.
What's the reason? Like they are so like heavy on electricity. Like why do they pull so much? Is it just there's so many things going on, or
So in one machine, so a machine you're looking at, I'd say roughly 18 inches by about 24, and they have most of them have 3 hash boards. One hash board has 120 computer chips.
oh my
That's
God,
So
crazy.
the entire machine has 360 computer chips.
holy smokes!
And these chips, each chip does 75 watts or whatever.
Yeah.
So that is why it takes so much power.
Dang.
I mean, if you look at your normal everyday computer, it has one CPU.
Mhm.
One. And that CPU takes about 75 to 100 watts. If it's a big gaming computer, it does 120 to 150 watts. So you got to think that one chip does quite a bit of power in terms of a light bulb or whatever else. And if you have 360 of those, well, it's 360 times.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I would say in your situation, safely 5 to 10 machines, it would be able to run, a 50 kW. Now, granted, it could be able to run more,
Yeah.
but you don't want those points because if you overdo it, you're going to get a lot of stagnation that it's pulling, it's pulling, it's pulling. It's not pulling anymore, and now your generator's dead.
Yeah.
And then the pressure's got to build and build, and then it starts running again. So
Yeah.
you want it to be a consistent pull.
Yeah. Yeah. That like that's what I was sitting there thinking. I was like, if I was to do something like that, I was like, I would feel safe with maybe running 4. I
Yeah.
was like, I
And you
feel
could
like
always have
I could do that.
yeah. Yeah. And, I'm not a gas person.
Yeah.
That is what my business partner was able, like, that's what he did for the longest time. Him and his dad did for the longest time. So, they dealt more on that aspect, and I dealt more on the machinery, the cryptocurrency, machinery wise, networking, and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. But here's another question I had while we were talking about this. You said it makes $15,000 to $20,000 a year on average at this market. How do you get paid if you mine this but you're not selling it? Or
You don't.
how does that work?
So you get paid in the coin. So you only make the money,
If you sell.
or you only make US dollar when you sell.
Okay. So say you were doing
Yeah.
that and then you're making 70 a day, and then you could just take and sell off what you were making per month to take care of your bills, your payment or whatever. If you were trying to just solely make that thing do itself, and say you did like a small business loan, you could take and just sell off what you have. Okay. That's what I didn't
Yeah.
think. I wasn't thinking, 'cause it was sitting there making 15, 20. I was like, you're making these coins, but like you don't want to sell.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, but that
And
I overthought that.
a lot of people don't. So I've got clients that, they sell every month to cover their electric costs. And then I've got other clients that um, they keep everything that they have, and they have their other business or whatever else, or personal or whatever, pay for the electric bill.
Yeah.
So you have different clients that'll that do different things.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I
It
was saying,
just
like, if you were
yeah.
trying to make it like completely self-sufficient, like that way it took care of its own electric bill, payment for the business loan, all that stuff. Or you could just pay it out of pocket and just keep everything in there for hoping that it's just going to keep going up. So you're going to be making more money every time. Yeah. So what do you kind of see, like, in your mind? Like, what do you see, like, the big but you've done said what you saw Bitcoin, like the Dogecoin and all that. What do you see that stuff kind of raising to on the price? And even, like, I know you can't mine Ethereum, and like, what do you see that stuff continuing to skyrocket, or like where do you kind of see that kind of mellowing out in your mind?
I do. Which everything follows. You have your Bitcoin bulls, and then your Bitcoin market, and then you have your altcoin market,
Mhm.
which you have your Bitcoin normally hit first, so Bitcoin takes off. It stagnates a little bit, and then you have your altcoins, which are your Ethereum, Litecoin, Doge, Solana, all the other coins follow it as well.
Yeah.
So like they all
So
go off Bitcoin almost.
they will all mirror Bitcoin a little bit, and then you'll have these one-offs. So like Doge, for example, Doge went up 150% in the past 3 months. It shot up and then it leveled out. And all these other coins that are shooting up, leveling out. Some of them are dipping back down. Some of them are staying. but it all follows Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin does really, really good and the market does really, really good, everything else normally follows.
Yeah. What?
So I mean, I see Doge hitting $1 in a year or two,
Really?
especially since it's Elon loves it.
Yeah. I knew
Elon
that. I knew
absolutely
he was a
loves
big,
Doge.
you know,
Yes.
he was a big believer in it. What about? I was reading something the other day. I didn't really look into it a lot. I was just kind of glancing and saw an article thing about it. What about XRP? I've seen it's going crazy right now. Apparently, what is
Yeah.
that, and kind of what's the push behind it? What's your thoughts on that?
So XRP's big market, their big thing is they are very good with transactions and fast transactions. So their big aspect is that you can send money to somebody else within seconds. So their goal is to replace the banking SWIFT. So, SWIFT is your bank's way to send money to other international banks,
Mm-hmm.
which normally takes, or people know that as a wire transfer, takes anywhere from 2 to 4 days.
Yeah.
With Ripple or XRP, XRP is the coin, Ripple is the network. So with those two, they are wanting to take over that market and say, hey, listen, you can use the Ripple network and our XRP coin, and we can get your money there in seconds. It's faster, it's more secure, and it's safer. So Japan actually came out and said that they are looking into taking all of their internal banking to XRP or Ripple.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
So that is their goal. So yes, they are a cryptocurrency, but their goal is to take over the banking market as far as transfers.
Yeah.
Dang. So like
So
there's a couple, or I don't know how many there are, but like say for the beginner, like what is in your opinion like the best platform to, start investing in cryptocurrency? I know there's like Coinbase and I don't really know any of the other ones right off the top of my head.
so yeah, you have Coinbase, you have crypto.com, you have Kraken, you have Binance. When you start getting into like Kraken and Binance, those can be a little bit more confusing because then you can do leverage trading and option trading with crypto, and people don't really understand what option trading is with regular stocks, so they're not going to with crypto either. Um, but so you can get in trouble in that aspect, but for a safe first time investor, I would suggest Robinhood, Coinbase, or crypto.com. A lot of people don't really like Robinhood, but in my mindset, Robinhood is a publicly traded company. Their records are public. So they are relatively safe.
Yeah. Got to look out for the
Same thing with
FTX.
Coinbase.
I was trying to think of that dude.
Yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He
Same
was a
thing with
wild man.
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And he got caught, and which they've actually recovered a majority of those funds that were taken or stolen.
Yeah.
And he just thought that he wouldn't get caught, and then crypto crashed, and people were pulling their money out. And he was like, "Oh crap, I don't have it yet," because he was banking that the market was going to keep going up, and he was going to be able to pay it back that way, which he may have never got caught if crypto didn't crash.
Yeah.
But it did. People wanted their money, and they were like, "Hey, I need my money," and he was like, "I ain't got it."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and he was donating from the things I could read. He was donating to like a lot of the Democratic Party PACs and stuff like that. I guess I wonder if his mindset behind that was to try and sway them to kind of keep away from him. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
his parents, which his parents are doctors, and his parents were very they were very entwined in the liberal party,
Yeah.
and so I think it was just more or less that he sided with the liberals a lot more than conservatives,
Yeah.
and um, I it could have been a little bit that he was trying to pay him off, but I think it was more that he had the same ideologies as liberals. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to be on the more conspiracy side.
yeah, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'll read into it, but listen, if it don't affect me, I don't bother with it
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Well, what do you two think about the drone thing over New Jersey and all that?
I've seen my fair share of drones. They are, you never know. Somebody can have them far side of the world, and you don't know who's controlling it, what their intentions are, and maybe these don't have bombs attached to them. But if it's the size of a vehicle, all it's got to do is hit you.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, I think it is a joke that there's all these hearings and stuff, and nobody can tell anybody anything. Like we don't know what
Yeah.
it is. We don't know who's controlling them. That we
Yeah.
spend that much money on defense.
Somebody knows.
Somebody knows something.
Well, I will say, I think the weird thing on that is we have not shot it down yet.
Yes.
Like I understand you cannot shoot it down if it's over people's houses. I got that. If it's in open water,
Why not drop it?
like regardless if you're able to recover it or not, shoot it down.
Yeah.
If it's in open water, shoot it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just
It's kind of like the same thing with the Chinese spy balloon.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they shoot
Yeah.
that down earlier? It could have came down a
Yeah.
million times before. Well, not you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
it just they waited so long. It's like you guys get everything yet?
yeah. Well, and who knows? You could do biological attacks with those balloons and release stuff.
Yeah.
And, it being that high in the atmosphere that it's going to float down and it's going to spread out so much that it would affect a wide range of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why would you not shoot it down
Yeah.
earlier?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like just let it see its farewell tour or something like that. Letting it go around that far.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't have shot it down. If it were me, I would.
It
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and then then it's just odd that like that's happening. And then that one, I cannot remember his name. Actually, I don't even think I saw his name. I was just watching a clip of him. That one senator said he had from high sources that it was they were coming from a mothership that was sent over from Iran that were flying these drones. I'm like, but everybody's kind of making a joke of that. But he was like, this is coming from very high sources that are telling me this.
Yeah.
And everybody's just kind of blowing that off. But I don't know. This seems like that there's a lot more going on than they're entailing, and they know a lot more. They just don't want to speak about it, in my mind.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which
100%. That is crazy. I don't know, and some of those things we'll never know. Like we'll never find out.
Oh no.
The truth on some things.
And it's like them they're all the hearings about the UFOs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to think. I never really believed in UFOs. I just knew that there was something out there,
Yeah.
Didn't have any idea of what it was, but now they're kind of talking about it. Now it makes me believe in them a little less.
I believe that.
I think they're covering up something. I think they're covering up some kind of technology that we have.
Oh yeah, because there's like, have you ever heard Mike Baker?
Yeah.
Heard him on Joe Rogan. He talks about we already have this technology that public knows all about, or they don't know anything about, and they've had it for a long time. And I don't know. There's a lot.
I mean, if you look at the technologies that we've had and that we have finally released, it's like when you truly look into it, they developed it 20 to 25 years earlier than whenever it was publicly released. And it's like, man, you've had the internet since the 50s, or a form of the internet since the 50s, and public hasn't had it since basically about the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, it's a long time to have something this powerful. Now, granted, it was very modified, but it was still very similar.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, also, if you look at, back in World War II, Germany, a lot of German equipment, weapons, it was so crazy and far-fetched that the Americans didn't think that it was real, because it was so, like the V-2 rocket. I mean, they had such equipment that it's like,
So high tech, it was just above our time.
how
We
did
could comprehend it.
how did you develop all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Germany was a fairly small country then. I mean, granted they got bigger, but it's like, you developed all this in secrecy and nobody knew about it, and it was this powerful. So, I mean, I do know that there's a lot of conspiracies on aliens and Nazis and stuff, and it's like, that's probably one of the reasons why I don't go down the rabbit hole too much.
Yeah.
Is because it is very interesting when you look at it.
Yeah.
And then when you start putting two and two together, it's like, well, it kind of makes sense that this could happen.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a slippery slope.
Oh, yeah, it's like you go down that rabbit hole, and I mean, you're looking at meth head Nazi aliens, because that's what they were. I mean, because Hitler was, I mean, he was a wild man.
Yeah.
I mean, and the whole party, they were told to do meth, and I mean, who could carry out such horrible tasks and not have some kind of mind altering drug?
Yeah, they had
in
to
them.
something.
Well, yeah, they developed crystal meth.
Yeah.
It was called Perthidin. They first gave it out to all their civilians first, because they realized, hey, if I give it to my civilians, they work in the factories for 30 hours and they don't need rest.
Yeah.
And they thought, okay, well, we'll give it to soldiers. And so I read something the other day that, every German soldier had it was basically like a little peppermint pouch that they just pop one off and they take it.
Wow, I hadn't heard that.
And it's called Perthidin, is what their brand name of crystal meth was.
Wow.
Look that up.
Yeah, we'll have to do some reading into that. I've never read that before.
No, I had never heard that. Perthidin.
Perthidin.
Where to find modern day Perthidin?
You probably just go anywhere in Greensburg.
But oh man. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a. I don't know. There's a lot going on in the world now that's just, man, it's
wild times.
I mean, everything going over, like Syria like Damascus falling.
Yeah.
All that happening. And then on top of that, Russia and Ukraine. Apparently, from what I've read, Ukraine was helping the rebels in Syria with the fall of Damascus. And then, I mean, just everybody's on edge. Israel is striking Syria now.
It's tense times.
I mean, and then Russia threatening the use of nuclear weapons because UK and the US are supplying Ukraine with all those long-range ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Gosh, man.
There's definitely a lot going on.
No. We talking about crypto.
Heck yeah. We're planning for the future. The future is in jeopardy.
Exactly.
Internet's always going to be a thing, so
that's right.
That's a good point.
It's here to stay.
It ain't going away.
No.
Heck no. It's just going to get bigger. I mean, that's,
oh yeah.
With AI, and then they came out with who was it that came out with? I just read something about it yesterday as well. It was about one of the biggest quantum computers. Google, yeah.
Well, they just came out with the
biggest yeah.
Yeah. It's able to do, I can't remember what they said, but it's able to do the same amount of work in like 10 seconds than their previous supercomputer could do in like 10 million years.
It was an insane number.
Or something. It's something crazy.
It was an insane number.
I
It's
don't even understand what that means either. Like a quantum computer, is it just like super high powered or
So quantum computing is another topic I research a little bit, but quantum computing. So your normal binary code is zeros and ones, and you have to switch them on and off. Well, quantum computer does all of it all at the same time. So your zero is now both a zero and a one at the same time as this one is a zero and one. So normal computers, you have to go like turn it off and on.
Mhm.
This one is just constantly on, so it is a one and a zero at all times.
oh
So that's why it's so much faster.
and it's just like faster at like I don't I
Everything.
doubt they're just like browsing the web with it.
well, no.
No, they are. Yeah, no, they're doing
They're on
like
Facebook.
subatomic. Yeah, like yeah, they're not looking at Joe Rogan or whatever.
Yeah.
They're trying to develop what an actual cell looks like and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I mean, you think about what it is right now. Like in 2024, in 10 years, what are our lives going to look like due to technology?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's
It's
going
almost
to
scary.
be insane.
It's almost scary sometimes when you truly think about it.
It is.
Like Terminator, people think Terminator is just a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may not be.
Yeah. Seriously, look at the Tesla robots that
AI
they're
could be
buying.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI could get to the point where it has a mind, and if it's like people say that it is, nobody wants to die,
No.
whether it is a computer or a human. So if you put in a code to kill it and it doesn't want to die, it's gonna fight it,
Yeah. And that's like,
and then
yeah, it's like,
That's
well,
scary.
it's just like this a simple thing of like ChatGPT. When they gave it a timer to solve a puzzle, it gave itself more time.
yeah. Well, there was another thing. Now, granted, I don't know how true this is, but ChatGPT just came out with, I think it's ChatGPT 4.
Yeah.
Well, they did a code to ChatGPT 3 telling it to destroy itself. It did not. It attempted to upload itself to the internet in pieces so that somebody else could pick it up.
Wow. See, that's
So it was
creepy.
basically smart enough to know, hey, I don't want to die. And it knew that it was going away and it would never come back. So it uploaded itself to other things, and then when the developers realized, hey, it's uploading itself, they disconnected it from the internet and had to go in and manually take pieces out of ChatGPT to disassemble it
See, that's
because
scary.
it refused to die.
Dude, it's gonna outsmart us.
Oh, it's
And
already there.
I feel like in 4 or 5 years, if we
Yeah.
keep going at this rate, it's going to simply outsmart us. And I don't know what to expect. There's no
Yeah.
way to know what to expect because who knew that we would be at this point now? It,
Yep. It's crazy and scary. I mean, technology is very, very good and helpful, but there's also you've got to be safe about it. And that's where I think regulation comes in as far as
Yeah.
making sure that there are all these stopgaps put in so that it cannot be more powerful.
yeah,
Mhm.
Elon with his new Tesla robot, he put physical limitations on those robots so that they can only lift 10 or 15 pounds.
that's smart.
They're only able to go 4 or 5 miles an hour. They're super smart and can do anything, but physically they are unable to because of these physical limitations.
Yeah,
But what's also to say that these robots aren't going to get to the point where they say, okay, well, this arm can only do 10 pounds, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to modify it myself
yeah,
so that I can.
exactly. That's the scary part when it can start working on itself to make itself better.
Yep.
Yeah,
Our robot
it's
become a reality.
Yeah.
gosh, man, it's creepy. And I mean, that's like there's a lot of theories being tossed around regarding technology and the robotics and the AI. and quantum computing and stuff about, you give it, like I said, another 5, 6, 7 years, it's going to take a lot of these factories and it's going to take all the work away from people.
Yeah.
And what are these people going to do when they don't have jobs? I mean, are they going to have to supplement like a universal income for these people? And these businesses are going to have to pay that in kind of like a tax form? Or what, you know, what? Because I mean, you put people, and what's scary about that is you give people no purpose. Well, then you're going to lose somebody that might have had a purpose that wanted to work and then do something on the side. Hopefully, there'll still be people that have that initiative that, okay, I've got this money. I can go freely do what I want to focus on and live a happier life, which I'm not
Yeah.
for universal income by no means.
Yeah.
But I mean, if something happens to where they take away all these jobs that people need to live, like what else do you do? Because it's not just going to be in factories. I mean, they'll end up doing a lot of it like in healthcare, and
I'll be
I
everywhere.
think in 10 years, I think being a trucker or delivering UPS or anything like that, I think that's going to be in and out, because I think automation is going to take over a lot of that. And I think it's going to
Yeah.
get to a point where when all these older cars are off the roads and you get these newer cars that have like Super Cruise and all that, and like how Tesla has autopilot, it's going to, when you punch in, you're going to have to like get in your car and like do a destination where it will drive itself, but you can take over if needed.
Yeah.
And man, that's just, and somebody could hack your car.
Yeah. It's like I watched this movie
I mean,
here recently. It's called like Leave the World Behind. And like I think there's like some big cyber attack, but all these Teslas, like they were just crashing into each other. Like all these
yeah.
electric vehicles were just
And it seems like a movie, but God, that could easily, that could be a reality.
yeah. I mean, I don't know
Good.
nothing about any of that, but I would imagine it definitely could happen. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that makes me nervous anyways, thinking of like a car driving, just driving itself.
Yeah, I don't like it.
They are very odd to drive as far as when because it'll make tiny little adjustments and you'll feel the car like just make these tiny little adjustments and it's like
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't make this adjustment into this other car over here.
Yeah, for real. That's my thing. I've never rode in one that has autopilot.
I've never rode one at all.
I've rode in the one that uh, we were looking at cars, and it was like as long as it felt the pressure of your hands, or like the pressure of your fingers on the steering wheel, it would drive itself. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't full cruise, but like, I mean, you could just touch your fingers to the bottom of the steering wheel and just sit back, and it drove itself. And that was
Yeah.
weird because I would get close to cars. Oh man, ooh,
Yeah, that would make me nervous.
no, but
Oh man,
I
dude,
think,
we have learned a lot.
yeah, I have for sure.
Dude, this has been awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to talk to you, Jonathan. I mean, I've never met
Yeah,
you. It's
glad to
nice
be
to meet
here.
you, and nice to get. I mean, I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge.
Heck yeah.
Seriously.
I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
people
and
who listen
there's
to it will as well. Like,
there's so much more. It goes so much more in depth, and it's kind of I could talk about it for hours, and most people probably wouldn't understand. When you start talking about algorithms and this, that, and the other, people don't understand, but it's you can break it down pretty quick and easy, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, even when you were talking just about the blockchain and all that stuff, I mean, I've heard the terms, but as far as like breaking it down and kind of explaining it, I've never, there were some things that went over my head. Some things I
yeah.
could kind of understand, but
But
it's
you
still
showing us that too, like actually like showing an
seeing it.
example of them, that like an example of it, that made it a lot more comprehensible. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this looked like. This is kind of that process, even though I'm still, you know, not literate on it at all. It gives me more of an idea on, what
Yeah,
it is when I
you
hear
can at
those
least see a
terms.
tangible thing.
Yeah, and like talking about that now, you've kind of got me intrigued, to be honest. I mean, I might talk to you here here in the future, the near future, about something like that. Because I mean, if I could set up something like that on my own property, running it off of that, that might be something that I would really be interested in. Because I mean, it's kind of like a set it and forget it kind of thing,
It is,
and
yeah.
it's going to generate money. I mean, what's the difference in taking a chance on drilling an oil well?
Yeah, you gotta monitor it a little bit, but there's programs out there that will send you a text message or an alert whenever anything's down. So if it's not down, they'll go out there and check it, or you just check it every day.
Yeah,
Take 5, 10 minutes out of your day, make sure all the lights are green. If you're good, you leave.
yeah, and just let it keep doing its
Oh,
thing.
man,
Have
that's
it connected to a computer, and you can check on that and see what all it's pulled
Yep.
out and everything. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I might be seriously. I might. That's something I'm gonna think about. I might be in
Okay.
contact
Yeah.
with you. I might want to
Anytime.
have you come out here and kind of look at my setup out here and see maybe if there's something we could do out here.
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Well, Jonathan, it was a pleasure talking to you on here. What is your uh company name? We never even, or do you even have a name? Do you just go?
So I go under Isenburg Warehouse is the LLC.
Okay, okay. So that way, if
So
somebody kind of wants to send you an email on your email that you put out earlier in the podcast, they can
yep.
know kind of what to go by. Um,
Yeah, and you said your email earlier. Like if anybody reaches out, wants to get in contact with you, we can give them your email. Obviously, we won't give your phone number out or anything like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, just so people who are interested and possibly want to hire you or something can get in contact with you.
kind of see what they could do on
Yep.
a setup.
Heck yeah, dude! Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
Honestly, I've enjoyed every bit of it.
I have too. It's been a pleasure. It really has. Thank you for taking the time, man.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I like I said, I could talk about cryptocurrency for hours. I love it. It's changed my life for the better. So I'd be happy to help introduce other people to hopefully change their life for the better too.
Okay.
Heck yeah,
Well, that's a wrap on this episode.
yeah.
And
We should do this. We should do this in the future too. Like do like an evaluation year by year. Like, well, crypto was
Okay.
here last year. Let's see where it is. Next year, year before, whatever. That'd be
oh
awesome.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So heck yeah, man, dude. Thank you. We have truly appreciated it, and hope everyone who listens to this has a better understanding, and maybe has intrigued a lot of people on what they're missing out on. So
All right. Well, that's it for this episode, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
see y'all later.